Hey guys, welcome. I'm starting off by spraying my face with some rose water, prepping the skin, and following in with some moisturizer, putting it down my neck, all over the face, just making sure my skin is nice and hydrated, ready for the product. Here I'll be going in with some concealer. Since I don't use foundation, I use this to spot conceal and to brighten up the center of my face. First, laying it down with a brush and then switching over to a beauty sponge just to make sure that I'm not putting too much product. And it just helps buff out the product nicely, so it basically will end up looking like a second skin once I'm done with my face. Just really putting it around the nose, over the cupid's bow, and a little bit underneath where I would typically contour, just so that area is nice and bright. And then I'll be filling in my brows. Again, I like to keep it very natural, so I just use, for the most part, I use a brow powder. Sometimes I do like to go in with a pomade, but today I'm keeping it pretty natural, just filling in any sparseness. I will go in later and use some brow gel, but I usually wait until after the eyeshadow to apply it. Here I'll be going in with some concealer on a flat brush and really carving out under the brow, just so that it's nice and sharp. I just like the way that it looks after I finish my eyeshadow. It just looks a lot cleaner, doesn't look too hairy. So, if you don't, if you have some, stray brow hairs, it helps conceal that a little bit so that the brow looks like you just had it done. So yeah, just, really carving it, and whatever's left over on the brush, I do drag it onto the lid just so that it's nice and primed for the eyeshadow. Here I'm going in with a shade that's basically my skin tone. Again, just to make sure that any shadows that are going to go on top of it blend out really nicely. I'm going to start with a rustic orange shade, starting on the outer corner of the eye, and I'm going to bring it above the crease. I do like the center of the lid and the inner corner to be pretty bright, so I'm going to keep most of these darker shadows towards the outer corners of my eye. Just creating a V shape right on the outer third of the eye. And just using whatever's left over to really blend it up softly up towards the brow. I do leave a little bit of a gap just so that the arch of the brow is nice and highlighted. I'll be taking a smaller blending brush now and just packing on some red eyeshadow on that outer third of the eye, just to start bringing in some color. I was feeling, all the warm fall vibes, so I'm going to be doing something very fall inspired. But honestly, this kind of look, I use it year round, so it doesn't really matter. I do really like warm shades, as you can tell with my red hair. But here I'm just packing it on and then blending it out, and going with an even smaller brush, I'm laying down a little bit of a maroon shade and just accentuating that outer corner, really making it look nice and deep, and just using patting motions at first and then softly blending it into the crease. But I'm keeping it mostly, oh hello Jack, that's my little girl right there. Yeah, I'm just using soft windshield wiper and circular motions just to buff out the eyeshadow. And whatever was left over on my big fluffy brush, I just brought it down underneath the eye. And there I did use a light eyeshadow, basically the color of my skin tone, just to kind of carve out the outer edge. And going back in with that red to intensify it. Sometimes with blending, you need to go back in with the same shadows, just so that you don't lose the intensity of the color. Here, I'll be going in with a mustard shade just to start blowing out the lower lash line. I will take that around the eye as well and a little bit on top just to really buff it out. Then I will take a small brush with that same maroon shade just to intensify the lower lash line, and I will lay down that same mustard shade on the lid just to prep it for some shimmer that I'm going to be putting on top of it. First, I'm going to press on that gold shimmer with my finger, but I will switch over to the brush just to make it a little more precise. I will go back in with that red eyeshadow just to help blend that into the gold shimmer, make it all come together. And I'll be taking that big fluffy brush again with some light face powder just to brighten underneath the eyes and clean up the eyeshadow a little bit. I will go in with a highlighter on my inner corners just to brighten them up and blend it into that gold shade. And now I'm going to be taking a bronzer and just starting to warm up the face. I start off with a little bit and just build it up however much I need to. I don't like to do heavy contouring or anything like that on the usual. So here I'm just going to warm up the face, putting it on the perimeters, taking it underneath the jawline, all that good stuff. Gotta, chisel out that double chin, Here I'm taking a warm orangey blush just to continue bringing warmth to the face and to add color to the cheeks. And I will be taking that same highlight that we used on the inner corner, popping it on the cheekbones. And here are the lashes on. I'm going to finish with the rose setting spray. And there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you soon. Bye.